So the one guy that I really want to talk about because I'm very opinionated on him is Brandon Ayuk. I don't know how you feel about him, but to me, I think he's extremely undervalued right now. Looking back just 2 years ago, he posted an elite 3.18 yards per route run, second in yards per target and yards per reception. He ranked top 6 in both average separation and avoided tackles per reception. And he finished in 2023 as the wide receiver 10 overall. And right now, if you're looking at KTC, he's actually the wide receiver 37, which I understand. Like, I'm not going to sit here and not bake in that he's a 27-year-old coming off of a serious injury. But from what I'm seeing, it sounds like he's progressing towards playing week 1. There's no Debo. Kittle's a dinosaur. CMC's banged up. I just don't think that you can sit here and tell me that Aiyuk, when perfectly healthy, isn't the number one weapon in this offense. And if you wanted to make an argument for Juwan Jennings or Ricky Pearsall, with Juwan Jennings, he's been on this roster since 2020. And I think if he was the guy, we would have seen it by now. You know what I mean? It only took 4 years to have, CMC gone, Brandon Aiyuk out, Debo out fat with COVID. I just don't think that Jennings is really going to be like a huge piece in this offense this year. If Aiyuk comes back and he's 100%, I think he's got legitimate wide receiver 1 upside.
I'm inclined to hate on that offense. Brock Purdy, I'm not the biggest fan of, but he does have some upside there. And they just signed him to a huge contract, whether you like him or not. He's got the talent to at least be deserving of that. So I think their offense is, the more I think about it, kind of sneaky good. They do still have CMC for, what's left of him. I think Aiyuk slots in really well, as long as his knee is healing correctly as the number 1 wide receiver there. And then kind of like you said, Jennings, I had him in redraft last year. He's not quite good enough to be a number 1. He did show some flashes, but I think he slots in really well as a number 2. And they have so many young guys behind both of those guys. They have Cowan, they have Pearsall, a lot of question marks there, but I like the guy. If you can get him for an early, late second, I would go out and get him. I think if I have him though, it's going to be hard to sell him for that, just because I've held on to him through his whole contract dispute stuff last year, but B, he's also had this knee injury, and I think it's like, if you were going to buy him low, it would have been when he hurt himself. He has the contract. He's tied to Brock Purdy, who also has the contract, and he's tied to a pretty good offense. And whether you like Shanahan or not, he does run a pretty good offense. So a pretty valuable guy here. I think you should go snag him if you can afford to give up that pick.
What would you be willing to give up for Brandon Aiyuk?
I would flip, I think, comfortably an early second. Getting into the late first territory is a little bit too steep for me, I think, for how many question marks this guy has. I mean, the talent's there. He has the proven production that, you can see right here in front of us. And I think it's hard to argue that you shouldn't trade for this guy if you need proven production. I think he's a one to keep an eye on and snag him if you can get him.